You're listening to an Airwave Media Podcast.
President's Day savings are happening now at the Home Depot with up to 40% off select appliances. Looking to upgrade your fridge? Check out LG's newest model, serving up ice in all kinds of styles. Cube, crushed, craft ice, and now new mini craft ice straight from the dispenser. From cold brew to fizzy favorites, these refrigerators will have you entertaining like a pro. Shop President's Day savings and get up to 40% off, plus free delivery on select appliances like LG at the Home Depot. Free delivery on appliance purchases of $1,498 or more. Offer valid February 5th through the 25th, U.S. only. See store online for details.
Hello, I'm Lindsay Holiday, host of the History Tea Time YouTube channel and podcast. Katie and Nathan wanted me to let you know that this show is liberally sprinkled with colorful language. If profanity spoils your party, then this may not be the podcast for you. But if you enjoy expletives in your comedy history podcast, then I think you're going to love it. You may also like the taste of my podcast, History Tea Time, where I spill the tea on history. I profile remarkable queens and LGBTQ+ royals from across the world, explore royal family trees, put modern royalty into historic context, delve into topics like how women of the past gave birth and handled their periods, and much more.
Hi, this is Katie.
And this is Nathan.
And you're listening to Queen's Podcast, the show about women in history.
Nathan.
Katie, it's time.
It's time for some more Queen's Podcast.
Yes, ma'am.
Charlotte of Belgium, the sad sequel. Yeah, so before we get into it, how are you, my darling? How are things?
Wonderful. Fabulous.
Fantastic. Nathan, where did we leave off in episode 1 with Charlotte of Belgium?
Okay, when we last left off, Charlotte was a sad little princess and
Sad girl.
married to the brother of one of the most powerful emperors in the world, but her husband, Archduke Maximilian, horrible husband,
Not great.
just unfaithful and obviously neglectful.
Ew, I feel like we talk a lot on this show about these women that have these unfaithful husbands, and it's kind of almost expected in these royal marriages, but the neglect thing is like a whole different story. He would leave the country without telling her.
Bye, bitch.
Like, that is a whole different level. And what's even more fucked up is they're only 3 years into their marriage. It's not like they've been married for this super long time, and so he feels comfortable enough to do this stuff. That's a lot of bullshittery to fit in to 3 years, wouldn't you say?
Bullshittery.
I'm gonna coin that. Bullshittery. Queen's Podcast does not tolerate bullshittery from men with weird beards. But when Napoleon III of France decides Mexico needs to be under European Catholic rule, he kind of looks around and just in a complicated, confusing, dynastic turn of events, he decides that Maximilian, Charlotte's husband, he's like, Maximilian and Charlotte would make the perfect Emperor and Empress of Mexico.
Have they ever been to Mexico?
Nope.
Do either one of them speak Spanish?
Also, no.
Oh, surprise. Max says, no thank you, but Charlotte, who is starved for purpose, convinces him that this is their calling. And that is how Austrian prince and this Belgian princess go on to become the Emperor and the Empress of Mexico. This, of course, is a really huge oversimplification of how this came to be, but what you will need to know is that it seems like for the first time in their marriage, Max was like, happy wife, happy life.
Right? Yeah. He's like, if she wants to be Empress, I guess I'll make her an Empress. However, what we need to remember, in case you forgot from episode 1, Maximilian is super liberal. So he's like do the Mexican people want me to be emperor? They want me to be emperor, right? Like, they've voted for it. They want a European emperor, right?
And this delegation of dudes from France were like, oui, monsieur, as they do. And
Like, yeah,
maybe.
sure. The truth is, only some of them did. The church did, because the church was going to get a kickback from the Pope, basically, if they allowed a European king to come in. And in a way, that would kind of, in like a trickle-down economics kind of way, that would mean the rich in Mexico, who were also ultra-conservative, would also benefit from a European emperor. But for like the most part, like the everyday people in Mexico, they wanted a native Mexican president, which they had just had. There had been a guy named Benito Juarez as president who was now in exile. But that's what most Mexican people wanted, was Juarez back in power.
But the French and the Pope,
The Pope.
did a whole lot of exaggerating the people's want for a European leader to Max. And Charlotte was
Yeah.
like hard up on this whole, this is our dynasty thing. She was convinced this was what they were meant to be doing.
It was their purpose, yeah. We've already said that she is desperate for a thing to do, for a purpose in life right now. And this has been gift wrapped and put on her door. So if you go back to episode 1, you'll remember that her dad had been elected King of Belgium. She's like, okay, well, he was elected King of Belgium and that went well. Max being elected King of Mexico, she's kind of like, what could go wrong? You know, she's not seeing it as a bad thing.
And Charlotte is so excited. She goes and gets every book she can find on Mexico, starts learning Spanish immediately, and starts going by Carlota.
Carlota, I love it.
She is stoked, but what could possibly go wrong? They start preparing to travel to North America.
Yeah, Charlotte's stoked. Her husband, on the other hand, he's going through it. He's having a hard time. He is not as excited. His brother is the Emperor of Austria, and his brother is telling him not to do it. And Max is having full-blown panic attacks every damn day. There is even a story that they are like having this going away dinner party on their last night in Europe. And Max is just really, really not in a good headspace.
That's mildly put.
Yeah.
He was giving these rambling, emotional speeches. He was on the brink of tears. Like, it's obvious that he was not okay with this decision. And basically, Charlotte had to be like, hey, go do your mental breakdown in the gardens. You're freaking out the guests. And so then she hosted the dinner on her own.
Yeah. So she was done with his bullshit. She had been putting up with him for way too long. But in her mind, she thought it was their destiny to save Mexico and that Max was dragging his feet. And so she's just like, all right, I see the vision. You'll see it eventually. Darling, go have your minty bee on your own time. Thanks.
Charlotte and Max departed for Mexico on April 14th of 1864. But first, they stopped in Rome to get the blessing of the Pope. And this seemed to calm Maximilian down a little bit. Like, okay, if the Pope says this is a good idea, then it must be.
Be okay. It was not an easy journey, but they finally land in Veracruz, Mexico in late May. So it took them over a month from leaving Europe. I know.
Girl, no.
I know. When I travel and coach now overseas, I always do this. I'm like, oh, this flight sucks. But then I have to remind myself, okay, 8 hours in a cramped cabin compared to a month on a boat. Like,
She's
the
on a
future
boat.
really is. Yes, the future really is beautiful. Yeah. So it took them a month to get there. But this entire journey, they're not talking about like stuff about how they're going to be like how they're going to run things from the government point of view. They're talking about plans on how they're going to run their royal court. Like how the
Mm-hmm.
ladies in waiting are going to dress, how they're going to, what the rules about like how deep you have to curtsy to, do you know what I mean? Like
Yep.
more about the etiquette instead of like the day-to-day government is. So that's a scary. That's a scary.
The-
It's on the Pope now. Because remember, in her mind, she thinks that she is embarking on a land where people are desperate for her arrival. They are just like she thinks she is gonna be landing somewhere where people are just like welcoming her with
we love
open
you.
arms.
Yeah. And
Yes.
she is in for a rude awakening.
Oh. So that's where we're gonna take our first quick break, top off our drinks, and we'll be right back.
And we're back. So, y'all. So they arrive in Veracruz, Mexico in May, and the new Empress Carlota is expecting this huge reception.
She's expecting like, woo, our Empress
Party.
is here. Yeah.
Yes. Party, but not so much.
Womp womp.
She wanted the big bands like "Brr, brr, 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 brr,
Yeah.
brr. It's Carlota coming through," and it was not.
Do that. I like that. Let's do that again. It's Carlota coming
Carlota coming through now. It's Carlota. No, it's not. That's the vibe. She's expecting big crowds, big fans, and children throwing flowers at her, but instead it's like just a few dudes, maybe clapping, and like one guy with a banner.
Like a homemade banner.
Yeah, and maybe there's some dude, getting his tambourine on, something like that. It was lukewarm. Yeah.
To say the least.
Well, the city was wrecked with yellow fever. So if you haven't heard about that, not a good time.
Not a fun and sexy time. No.
So everyone in their home, I'm sorry, you want us to come out and greet these people? Nah, just stay in bed.
I'm gonna stay in bed, girl. Yeah, no thanks. New Empress. I don't care. Yeah. So also what they didn't know is that Veracruz was a city that was fiercely loyal to Benito Juarez, the former president, and was like largely occupied by these French troops. So the people aren't looking at Charlotte and Max as a breath of fresh air. They're looking at them as signs of oppressors.
This is fucking awkward.
It's real awkward, yeah. And no one really warned Max and Charlotte about this, that so much of the population was going to be looking at them with resentment. No one really gave them the heads up, because Max was even like, they want us there, right? They voted for us, right? And everyone was just like, yeah.
Sure.
They've been straight up lied to, really.
Yeah, from there, they start their tour of the country as they make their way to Mexico City, and they realized, wait, maybe they don't like us here. Maybe this country is really divided.
Yeah.
And in some areas, they are greeted with welcome, and they expected that, but now they're like, wow, maybe these people seemed a little forced with their love for us, or that was only in the, rich neighborhoods, or that was only in the neighborhoods with the big churches in it. Convenient.
But their entrance into Mexico City is exactly what Charlotte had been imagining, like this entire journey. a huge, big reception with a band. The church bells are ringing. There's a banquet, ladies in their finest gowns, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But here's the thing. They've already seen the haves and have-nots in like their 3 weeks it took them to travel from Veracruz to Mexico City. So the romance, the fairy tale of coming to this place and being an empress that everybody's going to love has already kind of been shattered for her, because she's already seen all these people and been like, oh, because some of the towns, like, there were literally like the French troops like rounding people out of their houses, being like, y'all are going to come celebrate the emperor now. Do you know what I mean? And like, and
Oh, painful.
I know Max and Charlotte aren't dumb. They know how staged this is now, but it's too late. We're in it to win it now. What are they going to do?
Right. So they set up their palace, Emperor and Empress of Mexico, and pretty quickly it's clear this is not the sweeping, open-armed welcome that they were promised.
Right.
And Charlotte's response is basically, okay, this is not how I imagined it, but we're here for a reason. And so she does what she always does. She gets to work.
Make it work. Yep, she is Tim Gunning it.
Yes, she's Tim Gunning it.
I'm going to make it work. She starts running her court the same way she did in Italy when Max was viceroy. She plans, she organizes, she launches charities, she hosts balls, she starts renovating the palace. She's creating ritual, routine, stability, all the things that feel like a real regime does, like what she saw her dad do, what she saw her grandparents do. The problem is all of that costs money. And the problem is Mexico's treasury has no money. And France is not sending over any more money.
But Charlotte doesn't slow down, because in her head, this is the prize.
Right.
This is the purpose. She is completely single-minded in her belief that if she works hard enough, if she commits fully enough, she can make it succeed. That, poor baby girl thinks that she can make Mexico great again.
Basically, yeah. Meanwhile, the reality on the ground is bleak. The country is on the brink of civil war from the moment they arrive. The French troops that make Charlotte and Max feel protected are seen by many Mexicans as an occupying force, which I don't think is a stretch. Like, of course they are.
No.
And the Austrian troops that start showing up when Max and Charlotte show up, that just adds gasoline to the fire, you know? The situation, what I'm getting at is the situation is fucked.
Fucked up. But Charlotte wants it to work so badly that she almost willfully, blindly just doesn't see how bad it really is.
She's got on like these rose tinted glasses or something, just like
rose tint my world, keep me covered from the
what are the words? Rose tint my world, keep me safe from the trouble and pain. Yes, that's exactly what Charlotte is doing.
That is it.
Rose tint my world, keep me
Rocky
safe
Horror.
from the trouble and pain. She is Rocky Horroring it, horroring. That was hard to say.
Don't call me that, Kaylee.
But no, Max started making mistakes as emperor because remember, the majority of the Mexicans don't want him. They wanted Juarez, who's now in exile. The people who were supporting Max were the Catholic Church and like the ultra rich. But do you remember how we talked about in episode 1 when Max was viceroy in Italy and his brother took the job away because he kept siding with the rebels? Like the rebels would be like, we're going to do a rebellion. And he'd be like, you should. And his brother was like, God damn it. They're talking about rebellion against us. Stop it. He kind of starts doing that with the Mexicans as well.
Again.
Again.
Yeah, Max passes a bill that supports freedom of religion, to which the Catholic Church looks at and they're like,
Dude.
dude, we are your only friend here, and we had one rule, and that was that the Catholic Church needed to be the only religion in Mexico. What are you
We're your
doing?
only friend in Mexico. What are you why are you going against us? Like his ideals were just, oh, sweet baby. So now Max and Charlotte basically have no supporters. So Max comes up with the dumbest fucking idea, Nathan.
I know. So a
Ugh.
little backstory on this. Mexico had an emperor before, this guy named Augustine. And Emperor Augustine had two living grandsons named Augustine and Salvador. And Salvador was like 14, and Augustine was only about 2 years old. And since Max and Charlotte didn't have any children, Max was like, yeah, well, we'll just adopt the old emperor's, kids, grandkids.
Oh, so these two boys were orphans?
Nope, their
Oh.
parents still alive, very much alive.
Oh.
And he had these children forcibly removed from their mother.
What?
Yes, like, how is this situation gonna go well?
Oh my
It's
God.
not.
No. Mm-mm.
And that's how Mexico saw it, because he kidnapped a 2-year-old baby and said, "You're coming to live with me now."
Oh. I I actually read two different sources about Charlotte's take on this. Because Wikipedia said that Charlotte was against this idea. But then once the kids got to her house, she was just like, oh, I love them. But then I read,
Stockholm syndrome.
yeah. But then I read another article that said that she was into the idea from the get-go. So I don't know what Charlotte's level of involvement in the let's kidnap these kids. But yeah, so
It's all a mess. It's all a big old mess.
it is it's a mess. The idea here is that, Max and Charlotte, they're not having any kids, so they're going to adopt these boys, and these boys are going to be their heirs, because they don't have heirs, and now they have Mexican-born heirs. They're hoping that'll give their presidency more legitimacy. Like, more people in Mexico will look at them now and be like, oh, another presidency.
You kidnapped these boys, so now you're legitimate. Like, this is just not. This is Hot Mess Express.
Hot Mess Express. I'm trying to put myself in their shoes because it is the gig, that is the job of our show, to try to understand these people. But I'm just like, I wish I knew for sure if this is something she was on board with, if she had any part of the ideation, if this was something she protested. We'll just never know. But Jesus Christ on a cracker. What the fuck were y'all thinking? Anyway, we have to move on. I feel like we could do a whole episode just about of us going, what the fuck?
Why? So some huge oversimplification and skimming, because as we've been talking about, this was a messy ass time going on in Mexico. And what was going on in the US and the Civil War, that was a mess, and that was also wrapping up and was affecting Mexican relations and with the U.S. And we were having some internal fighting. Stop fighting. And Charlotte was saying, on top of all of it, and getting really stressed out.
Well, because the Civil War was wrapping up, and now the U.S. was offering to help the Mexican troops fight, like run out Charlotte and Max, basically. Even though he had always been more inclined to see eye to eye with the rebels, Max issued something called the Black Decree in 1865. So they've only been there for a year. And already things are so bad that he issues this thing called the Black Decree. And basically it's like, hey, if you're a rebel and you don't surrender and you get caught, I'm going to have you executed. No trial, no questions. And that's what he did.
Yikes. But
Yikes on bikes is what we call that in the historical and the professional, serious historical field. Yeah.
Yikes on bikes. But I feel like we talked about this in episode 1, how his brother Franz Joseph did the exact same thing in Austria during some uprisings, and Maximilian swore, I'll never do the same thing. But he did.
We sure did. And yet here we are. And sadly, this would haunt Max for the rest of his life. Spoiler alert, it wouldn't haunt him for very much longer.
No. Shit's looking bleak.
Yep.
And France has decided that having their troops here in Mexico is no longer a good investment.
Yeah.
So they're going to pull out and...
Why did you say it like that? We're keeping it. We're keeping it.
And when France does basically that, every other European government that had troops in Mexico pulls out. And so this leaves Max and Charlotte more or less totally stranded in Mexico, a country that doesn't want them there, that doesn't like them. So this is what historians called you're screwed.
You're screwed. Well, let's talk about that for a second, because it's not like Max and Charlotte campaigned to become Emperor and Empress of Mexico.
No.
France put them there and then said, good luck. That is shitty.
Shitty city.
It's a shitty city. Yeah, it's not good. So it's decided, Max is like, okay, I'm going to hold down the fort here in Mexico. Charlotte, you go back to France. I need you to talk to Napoleon III. Convince him to send back his troops. I did also read that she may have been like, let's go to Europe together. It's going to be better if we do this together. And he was insistent on, no, if I leave Mexico, they're
shit city.
They're just going to take it all back.
Shitty city.
It's going to be shitty city. They're just going to take it all back and we'll never get it back, which maybe he should have listened to his wife. On July 9th, 1866, Charlotte left Max in Mexico and was like, I'll be right back, babe. I'll see you in a couple of months. I'm going to go remind Napoleon that he invited us here. This was his idea. He can't just turn his back on us. And then I'll be right back. But they never saw each other again.
And Charlotte landed in Europe in August of 1866 with her 2 kidnapped, adopted sons. As soon as she lands, she has a letter from the Emperor of France, Napoleon III, who's like, I'm sick. Don't come here.
They remind me of in Mean Girls. When she's trying to get Karen to come out, she's like, I'm sick. Boo, whore.
And Charlotte's like, I smell some bullshit.
I don't think you're sick.
And she heads his way regardless.
So Napoleon sends some dudes to the hotel she's staying at. It's like, wait for the emperor here. So wait for the emperor here. And we will call on you and let you know when he's ready to see you. So she uses this time to create her arguments on why the emperor can't just fucking abandon them. And she writes a 20-page argument proving her points. That is one fucking slide deck. Can you imagine if that was today, like this presentation?
Petty Betty. Yeah, Petty Betty being like, slide 1 is how you've been an asshole. Slide 2 is how you're an asshole. Slide 3, you're still an asshole.
Slide 4, it's a chart. And it's a pie chart
with an asshole on it.
Yes. And guess what, Napoleon? It's your asshole. Yes. So finally, she gets in front of the emperor and she presents her arguments. And she's like, okay, Charlotte, this is your moment to shine. Because, I mean, she's been training for this her whole life. She's been waiting to prove herself her whole life. Gets in front of him, gives it her fucking all. She gives an impassioned plea. She's informed. She's got the drive. She's got the passion. There shouldn't be a dry eye in the room. She finishes her speech and she's like, yes, I fucking nailed that.
But Napoleon, he's like, I told y'all, I'm done with Mexico. I mean, it was a little more in depth than that, but he basically said, I'm done with
I
that.
told you I'm done. You didn't have to come all this way for me to tell you I'm done. Thanks for coming, but stop trying to make Mexico happen. It's not going to happen, for another Mean Girls reference. Like,
Yep. And this is when we see Charlotte snap. I mean, she did come all this way, and she did stay up all night writing this 20
thesis
page.
statement, basically. Fucking hell. Yeah.
Yes. She had a whole PowerPoint
Yeah.
show. And now you're the one that puts us in this mess to begin with. So what do you mean, go home?
And so she just does honestly the most relatable thing to me as a Pisces. She does not wait until she like goes home or anything just in front of Napoleon and all his dudes. She throws herself onto a couch and breaks down in tears and sobs and cries in front of the entire French delegation. She just sobs and cries and she goes, fine, we'll just abdicate then, hoping that this will make him be like, oh shit, okay, we can't have you abdicate. But instead, Napoleon goes, honestly, if I was you, I would abdicate. Actually, that is my advice to you. You should totally abdicate. That is what I would do if I was you. Mexico is not safe for y'all. Why did your husband stay there? Y'all should not be there. Y'all should totally abdicate and get the fuck out of there, actually.
So true. But then she's like, fuck you. No. Fuck France. I'm gonna go to the Pope.
I'm going to the Pope.
In her mind, she thinks he's gonna support her.
Yeah, sweet baby Charlotte.
So she spends a month at one of her family's palaces in Europe preparing her plea to the Pope, but also during that month, this poor woman's mental health just nosedived. Just nosedives.
It's so sad, but also I'm not surprised at all. I really wonder what exactly it was that made her health decline in this month in between Paris and the Vatican. So like, I wonder, is it like the rejection from Napoleon? Is it the stress of knowing everything that's riding on her shoulders? Is it the actual danger that her husband might be in? Is it a combination of everything?
All of the above.
All of the above? Is it like a secret other thing that we're not even considering because we're not in her head? Like, she wrote a letter to Max that said, Napoleon is guided by dark forces. People that have translated that have translated it a couple of different ways. Some people have translated it of just being like, Napoleon has bad advisors. So that is the most like sane way it's been translated. But some people, when they are considering that she is in a spot of mental decline, have translated it to think that she is literally telling her husband that Napoleon is possessed by the devil.
Okay, fair.
We don't know exactly which way she meant there, but we're
not good.
Because she's never been a particularly superstitious person before. So I'm more inclined to believe that she was probably meaning more of like he has bad advisors. Well, let me rephrase that. When I was first researching this, I was like, oh, clearly she meant more the bad advisors thing, until I see how dark it goes when, spoiler alert, how dark things are about to get. Let's all form an opinion at the end.
Okay, so she gets to the Vatican and has her audience with the Pope, and Pope Pius IX, but he's He's a little hesitant to get involved in politics, which is surprising. And that was
Right.
the straw that broke the camel's back because he just didn't want to get involved. And girlfriend loses it after this. Whatever thread that was hanging on, it snapped. It's broken.
It's it like I it was that was her last lifeline. And whenever he just seemed like he wasn't going to try to strong arm Napoleon to help them, she just she just fucking lost it. So we're going to take another break real quick, and then we're going to come back and talk about what that looks like.
Yay.
We have two very different reactions there. I go, ooh, and Nathan goes, yay. All right, we'll be right back. Okay, we are back and we're going to jump right back into it. It's late September 1866, and our girl Charlotte, or Carlota of Mexico, she's only 26. I keep forgetting how young she is for all this to have happened.
She's a baby.
She's only 26 when she finds herself in Europe begging these powerful men who promised her and her husband protection to keep their fucking word. Keep your fucking word. She's in the Vatican, and Pope Pius IX has just been like, I don't really see how this is a me problem.
And Charlotte goes, oh, okay. All right, sure. Charlotte goes back to her hotel, locks the door, and then proceeds to suffer some kind of full breakdown. She doesn't come out of her room, doesn't drink water, won't eat. She dresses in all mourning clothes. And when her ladies in waiting try to come and get her out, she's frantic and she's insisting that someone is trying to poison her. And everyone is like, what? Who? What are you even talking about? Who is poisoning you?
Who would try to be poisoning you? After 3 days of this, of her like locked up, not eating, not drinking, she just sounds like a manic mess. Someone gets word to the Pope and they're like, hey, the Empress of Mexico is convinced people are poisoning her food and her water. And she's saying the only way that she'll eat or drink is if she dines with you, because she thinks no one would like have the balls to poison the Pope.
And Pope Pius didn't want her around, obviously. But also he's like, okay, it's going to look really bad if the sister-in-law of the Emperor of Austria is starving to death on my watch. So, fine. Tell her she can come have dinner with me tonight.
So she shows up to the Vatican looking a mess, wearing her mourning clothes. She had clearly been sobbing, like her eyes were like bloodshot. She just looks horrible. She's just deeply, deeply unwell. She sat down, like while the Pope is eating dinner, and she just straight up starts taking things from his plate. He had a cup with hot chocolate in it, and she just like dips her hand in his cup and licks the liquid off her hand. Because she was lying about being like, oh, I want to be served food with you, because no one would poison food being served with you. She was like, I want to eat the food being served to you because no one would poison your food.
Oh, wow.
So when he is like, okay, babe, did you want your own food brought in? She's like, nope, I'm just going to eat yours.
Whoa.
I can get you your own plate. Nope. I'm like, she is just stealing. It made me think, one time my husband was eating on the couch and he had a plate on his lap with like a whole pizza on it. And our dog did the ballsiest thing of her entire life and just walked up and grabbed the entire pizza and ran off with it. And she got in trouble. She knew she was going to get in trouble, but I think she didn't care because
it's a pizza.
Sometimes it's worth it. And I don't know why that was a thought that was coming into my head when I was researching Her
It's
just
her.
dipping her hand into well, because also she hadn't eaten or drank anything in 3 days at this point because she was convinced someone was poisoning her, and she's like
Oh,
she's just like, YOLO!
the mental state of it all.
She's
Oh, poor
not
baby girl.
well.
So that night, when it was time for her to go back to her hotel, Charlotte begged them not to make her go back because she was so certain she was going to get murdered. But, a woman has never stayed the night at the Vatican before.
Oof.
There's literally no protocol.
Oh.
But I guess Pope Pius was an okay guy because he was like, hey, this distraught woman put her hands on my food and now needs to stay the night. Okay. So this is the story of a woman that stayed at the Vatican for the very first time.
We wish it was cooler. Like, I wish it was under cooler
But it's
circumstances
not.
and not like, but instead he's like, I think she might kill herself if she goes
Mhm.
home alone. So, so the Pope was the next day, he was able to get Charlotte to go back to her hotel. And in the meantime, he sent word to her brothers, like, y'all gotta come get her. She is unwell.
Yeah.
And we just can't have her running around like this. Oh my God.
And a week later, Charlotte's brother Felipe showed up to get Charlotte, and this was not a good scene. She was locked up in her hotel room with one of her maids and a cat, which,
Honestly, I feel like this is a fun story for the cat, but literally no one else involved.
and this is gonna all be so gross, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
She would only eat chickens that she witnessed the maid would kill and cook
Ugh.
in the hotel room. And then the cat had to taste the food first. It's just like this, whoa, she's unwell.
So she's making the maid, she's making sure the maid isn't poisoning the food because she's watching the maid kill and cook the food, but then still getting the cat to taste the food just in case. So for the cat, this is fine. It's got a hotel to sleep in and free food. For this poor maid, though,
Going,
and also
like, what the fuck?
the first thing I think of is, what does this hotel room smell like?
Ooh, I just got a whiff. And I also, she had a chalice that she had stolen from the Vatican, and that's the only thing that she would drink from.
But yeah, so that poor maid was probably so relieved when the brother showed up.
Ooh, I got it. Ever since you put that scent in my nose, I feel it.
I'm sorry. We can move on. Let's move on so you don't have to smell it anymore. Though I will say, the fact that they wrote to Charlotte, the Pope wrote to Charlotte's brothers, and one of her brothers showed up within a week. Like, I feel like I do because how slow things like news traveled back then. I do appreciate the urgency that her family treated this with.
Well, she seems a little bit unwell. So
Yes.
the family's
Yes,
like,
but I know, but I feel like there's probably plenty of families that would have been like, or maybe not even gone themselves, or
They're
just
like,
not
we
really
already
treated it
did
with
the
like,
dowry thing, get her on, right?
yeah. So I like that they treated it with urgency and got one of them there within a week, and like actually one of her brothers, and not just like some solicitor. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It seems like they actually cared, I guess. Or maybe they only cared about their reputation, but I'm gonna read it like they actually cared. I don't know.
But oh my God, when her brother showed up, it was such a relief to Charlotte.
I'm sure.
She just unloaded everything on him, her problems in her marriage, their problem with the government of Mexico, how they didn't have any support from Napoleon anymore. I mean, it must have felt so good to finally have someone that was in her corner and be able to talk to.
That she didn't think was going to try to poison her. So her brother, while supportive, was obviously very concerned. I'm just imagining him like trying to listen to her and support her, but then like also looking around the hotel room and just being like, what the fuck? Like, I'm just being like, And just being like, I love you. I'm here for you. Did you steal that chalice from the Pope?
Like,
and,
what?
her being like, well, yeah, it's the only thing I can drink out of where I can't get poisoned. And then being like, yeah, obviously.
Fine.
Yeah. So he's concerned for her. So he got her out of Rome as fast as he could. And then he took her to Vienna, which is where her husband had like lots of lands, lots of castles that he could put her up on, and got her the best care possible. Like the best, when I say the best care, we are still talking about Victorian time. So the best care possible ASAP. And she was diagnosed with quote unquote madness with fixed ideas of persecution. And now I have to talk about a little rabbit hole I went down.
Go for it.
The doctor she saw back then, this is Victorian times, was called an alienist. And I was like, what a weird name for a doctor. So this is kind of like a precursor to a therapist or a psychiatrist. So an alienist was a doctor who specialized in someone who was alienated from reason.
Huh.
And isn't that such an interesting way of wording? We got to psychology in the end. So, but also it makes me wonder if in like 200 years from now, if somebody will look at our psychology and be like,
What are
what a
they
weird way
saying?
they went about. Yeah. But the main reasons that alienist, like they looked at people who were alienated from reason and they were like, okay, these are the buckets they fit into. Somebody becomes alienated from reason due to one of these main causes. And they were hereditary reasons. So you inherit it, you can't help it. Religious or political obsession, which obviously we could prescribe to Charlotte here, political obsession. Overwork of the brain.
Okay.
Which we could prescribe that to here. Moral shock, which I don't really know what that means. And then, of course, the last reason is just female reproductive reasons.
Hysteria, the uterus just floating around. Oh my God.
Because of fucking course.
Oh.
So Charlotte is ticking several of these boxes. So by ye old psychiatry,
Alienist.
or alienist, she is madness with fixed ideas of persecution. And that is the end of my rabbit hole. I found that interesting. What do you think? Was that interesting?
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
No, I love that. So after Charlotte gets diagnosed as an alien, her family's like, okay, let's let you rest. Give you the best care. We're gonna write to your husband, let him know what's going on and give him all the deets.
Oh, hey, what's going on with Maximilian anyway? Surely, since we last left him in Mexico, things couldn't have gotten any worse, right?
Oh boy, do I have some bad news for you.
Oh no.
Very, very, very messy. And a long story short, Max had decided to double down. Instead of fleeing Mexico when literally everyone tells him to, he chooses to fight the Republican forces. And he lost. He got captured.
Oh no.
Put on trial, and basically that black decree that he had carried out before he was considered a crime against humanity. This guy was sentenced to death.
What? Sentenced to death?
Yeah. Max's brother does what he can to try to save him, but honestly, there's not much left for him to do. And on June 19th of 1867, Emperor Maximilian is executed by a firing squad. And
wait, firing squad?
Yeah, that's a thing.
Fuck.
And his final request had been to be shot in the heart. So dramatic. Not the face. What was it? His mother wouldn't recognize his body if he was shot in the face. So shoot me in the heart. The drama. Emo.
Mommy issues there? Maybe a little bit?
Maybe teensies.
That is fucking grim. Charlotte is so delicate mentally. And I know they had a complicated relationship, but I mean, how in the world did her family break this to her?
Oh, they didn't.
What? What?
They straight up didn't tell her about any of this.
What?
I mean, I kind of get it because she's not in a great headspace and she's a
Mm-mm.
danger to herself, but also just a lose-lose situation here.
It really is. Like, there's no, yeah, you're right. You're right. Tell her and make her worse, make her sicker, basically.
Mhm.
Don't tell her, yeah, you're keeping something from her. That's shitty too, but I get it. I don't know that I don't necessarily know that I would have done it differently if I was her family. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Now, if you remember from episode 1, when we requested suggestions for women who had happy endings to their stories, this is what we're talking about, because it's kind of like, where do we go from here? Charlotte lived another 60 years,
Oh.
but we
Ooh.
really don't know what her mental state was on the day to day. Because remember, she was only 26. I really do think her age is what makes her story, or not, is part of what makes her story so tragic. Because she was
Mhm.
so young and she just has this mental break and then she just does not come back.
And after some time, she moved back to Belgium, and we don't know for sure if or when she was informed about Max's death. Some say that there were days that she was totally aware that he was gone, but then there were also days that she would speak about him like he was coming home every night and every day now, and he would be back. And oh, poor thing.
Her family in Belgium gave her this castle that she lived in for the rest of her life, and they like had to pad the walls and board up the windows. Like, the boarding up the windows wasn't so much like to keep the light out or anything, but because she would have like violent days and they just didn't want her to cut herself on the glass of the windows. But some days she'd be fine and she'd like embroidery and go for walks and be able to have her cousins would come and visit her and they would be fine.
And then some nights she'd get confused and, think those guards were her husband and they'd try to go get them to come up and sleep with her.
Yes.
Basically, right? Right? Like she's like, "Oh, that's my husband." And it's like, "No, honey, go to bed.
That is
Go
that's
to
really
bed."
sad. She would also
I
some nights
know.
get confused and think that the ghosts of Napoleon or the ghost of the Pope or the ghost of Max were there with her and start arguments with them. And the arguments would get so heated that this is one of the reasons where they had to board up the windows, is because she would go and get like the dishes out and start breaking the dishes during these arguments that she was having. I mean, in her head, they were with these people, but to the people that worked at the castle, they were with nobody. I don't think this was every day. This probably maybe happened a handful of times, but still, how sad is that? She would like full on have full on argument. And when I think about that, I know this is dark, but just from my own life experiences, when my dad was really sick towards the end of his life, he like hallucinated and saw people that weren't there. And when he would get angry, we could just come in with the morphine and shut that shit
Yeah.
down real quick.
Yeah.
I don't know that they necessarily had stuff like that back then. Surely they, I don't know that they, it was probably just much different than, so they weren't able to
Yes.
control it. So just so sad.
And on one hand, this reminds me a bit of Juana of Castile, which we'll link in the show notes. And if you want to go down that rabbit hole too.
If you want to learn about Juana,
It's really a little bit different and just sadly has the same exact ending.
if you're not familiar with Juana of Castile's story, big summary, she was a queen of Spain. who had a temporary mental lapse, which probably was super exaggerated. And then she was locked up and labeled mad. But then she was locked up for the rest of her life. But we have clear evidence that she probably recovered from her mental lapse. Like, she even wrote to the people in charge being like, hey, I'm fine now. Like, y'all can let me out. But the people in charge, i.e., her dad and then her son, decided to leave her locked up because it benefited them. So she spent the rest of her life in Ye Olde Dusty Castle. So a lot of people, I think, might draw parallels between Charlotte and Juana, but the difference is it does really seem like Charlotte just never came back from her quote-unquote madness, you know?
No, agreed. There are several theories on what caused Charlotte's mental collapse, but there is one theory that while in Mexico, there were people poisoning her food with mushrooms little by little, or, maybe telling her that magic mushrooms would help her get pregnant, or were secretly poisoning her, and that's why she got...
Like psychosis or something, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really buy that because mushrooms don't get... Why would she have a mental collapse from the lack of microdosing mushrooms after she left Mexico? That
Doesn't
doesn't
make
make sense
sense.
to me.
Yeah, doesn't make
No.
sense.
No. There's also theories that the medicines the doctors prescribed to her once she got back to Europe to treat her mental collapse did more harm than it did good, which who knows? Because Victorian science, you know what? All of history, healthcare is a nightmare. So
The only part of it that I agree with is just go sit on a beach in the sun.
that's what I did a few weeks. That's what I did a few weeks ago
that-
to deal with my mental health. Just went and sat on the beach. Yes, it was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
humors, yeah.
But back then it was leeches.
What?
Like, let's throw a leech on your brain. But Charlotte of Belgium, Archduchess and Empress of Mexico, ended up dying on January 19th of 1927, and she was 86 years old.
That's such a long time to live life like that, you know?
I know. And she is buried with the rest of the Belgian royal family.
Oh my goodness. What a wild and sad life. But what an interesting life full of so many rabbit holes. I learned so much. I learned so much tea also researching this. So yeah, thanks to everyone that suggested this one. And next time, I say we're going to do someone happier. I don't know that there's necessarily anybody in history that has 100%
A
happy story,
ending.
but someone that, the bar is on the floor, so it only gets happier from here. But Nathan, I know this one was kind of a bummer, but did you at least learn something cool? Did you find this interesting? I found so many cool rabbit holes. What do you think?
Oh, totally fun. I mean,
Fun in a
is
subjective
relative
history
term.
nerd sense.
Yeah, this one was a good episode to jump down the rabbit holes of like, oh, what was it like? What would it be like that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
and to kind of, we've done 2 episodes in Mexico and learned more about Mexican history too. So yeah, that was interesting as well. So, all right, well, I hope.
So cheers.
And I hope Charlotte is getting a break. I hope she's chilling.
A break in the afterlife is what she's wanting.
All right, cheers, bitches.
For over 100 years, the world has been captivated by Hollywood,
The stuff that dreams are made of.
where stars are born. But just beneath the stardust lie a million more fascinating stories that, when sewn together, form an incredible history. The Secret History of Hollywood, available now wherever you get podcasts.